Epictetus once said, "If you seek tranquility, do less, or more accurately, do what's essential, what the reason of a social being requires, and in the requisite way, which brings a double satisfaction, to do less, better." Ever found yourself less interested in someone until the moment they stopped paying attention to you? It's like suddenly their absence casts a shadow that's too intriguing to ignore. This phenomenon isn't just about playing hard to get. It's deeply rooted in our psychological makeup and, surprisingly, aligns perfectly with ancient Stoic principles. Stoicism teaches us about the value of self-sufficiency and the power of emotional independence. Today, we're diving deep into why people often only realize your worth when you start valuing yourself more than their opinion. This isn't just a lesson in modern relationships. It's an age-old wisdom that could change how you view yourself and others. Stick around, because we're about to uncover how embracing Stoic ideals can make you irresistibly attractive by simply focusing on your own growth. If you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple favor I'll ask from you is to hit that subscribe button and make sure not to skip any part of the video to get the full story. Let's get into it. Number 1. The power of your absence. You might be surprised to learn that being less available can have a powerful impact on how others perceive and value you. This concept isn't just about making someone miss you. It's about demonstrating your own worth and self-respect, which are core principles of Stoicism. Stoic philosophy teaches us that our control over our emotions and actions is a critical aspect of our character. When you choose to step back and focus more on yourself, you're practicing a form of Stoic detachment. This isn't about indifference, but about prioritizing your energy in a way that aligns with your own values and growth. When you're always available, people might not see the value in your time. However, when your presence becomes less predictable, your time and company start to be viewed as more valuable. Consider the dynamics in any relationship, personal or professional. When you're consistently present, it's easy for others to become accustomed to your contributions, so much so that they might overlook the importance of your efforts. But when you selectively choose when to be available, you create a scenario where people get a taste of what life is without your input and companionship. This absence allows them to truly reflect on what you contribute to their lives. Moreover, in the spirit of Stoicism, your absence helps others to appreciate your presence even more when you are around. It teaches them about loss and the value of temperance in their expectations and demands on others. Seneca once said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." By managing your availability, you help others to manage their cravings for constant interaction, leading them to a Stoic realization about the nature of desire and contentment. Your strategic absence also serves as a reflection for your own self-growth. It's a time when you can focus on personal development, much like the Stoics encourage. This growth makes you not only more self-reliant, but also more interesting and attractive to others. People naturally gravitate towards those who are self-assured, content, and who do not seek validation from others, but are comfortable in their solitude. Number 2. The shift in dynamics. When you consciously decide to step back and reduce your availability, you essentially disrupt the usual dynamic of your relationships. Think about it like altering the flow of a river. The change in course forces everything around it to adapt. Similarly, when you change how often you're accessible, the people in your life must adjust to the new norm. This shift can be quite revealing. It not only shows you who values you enough to reach out and maintain the relationship, but it also teaches others to appreciate your presence more when you are around. Stoicism teaches the importance of understanding what is within our control and what isn't. In the context of relationships, You can't control how others feel about you, but you can influence their perception through your actions. By changing the dynamics, you're practicing a form of Stoic wisdom, demonstrating that your emotional and physical availability isn't a given, but a choice you manage based on your priorities and self-respect. This strategic withdrawal is not about playing hard to get. Rather, it's about respecting yourself enough to set boundaries. It teaches people that your time and energy are valuable and that they need to put in the effort if they want to remain a significant part of your life. It's a powerful way to reset expectations and relationships on terms that reflect mutual respect and understanding. Moreover, the shift in dynamics is also about balance, a key concept in Stoic philosophy. Just as the Stoics strive for emotional equilibrium and rational response to external forces, adjusting your availability requires finding a balance between being approachable and preserving your own energy. This balance ensures that you do not become emotionally drained and that your relationships are more reciprocal and rewarding. As you implement this shift, you might notice a range of reactions. Some may step up their efforts to engage with you, appreciating more deeply what you bring to their lives. Others might drift away, showing that perhaps those relationships were too one-sided to begin with. This natural filtering is beneficial. It aligns with the Stoic practice of focusing on what and who truly enriches your life, letting go of what does not. Number 3. The Allure of Independence. Independence isn't just about being alone. It's about being self-sufficient and finding contentment within oneself, which is a key Stoic goal. This allure of independence transforms how others perceive you and significantly impacts your interpersonal relationships. Stoicism teaches us the value of self-reliance, not as a means of isolation, but as a way to develop personal resilience and freedom from the dependency on others' approval or presence. When you cultivate your independence, you are essentially practicing the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control: yourself, your reactions, and your emotions. This internal focus and development lead to a natural confidence that others find highly attractive. Think about it this way: when you're truly independent, you're not waiting for someone else to fill your time or provide your happiness. You become the architect of your own joy, which is a powerful position to be in. People are drawn to those who exude this type of self-sufficiency because it signifies stability, strength, and a fulfilling life, qualities that everyone aspires to. This attraction is not superficial. It's about recognizing someone who is at peace with themselves and their choices, which is inherently intriguing. Furthermore, independence changes the dynamics in your existing relationships. If previously you might have seemed too eager or available, now you're seen as someone who chooses when and how to engage. This doesn't mean you care any less about the people in your life, but it does mean you prioritize your needs and well-being alongside, or even above, others' demands. This selective engagement forces others to respect your time and presence more because they recognize that it's not given lightly. The allure of independence also means that you're likely involved in a variety of interests and activities that enrich your life. This makes you more interesting and engaging as a person. You bring new ideas and experiences into conversations, making you not just someone to spend time with out of convenience, but someone sought after for the richness they bring to every interaction. The allure of independence teaches everyone around you, including yourself, that your value doesn't decrease by spending time alone. On the contrary, it enhances your worth in your own eyes and in the eyes of others. This isn't just about being single or about being in a relationship. It's about how you handle your autonomy within every sphere of life. By embodying Stoic independence, you embody a freedom that many strive to achieve, freedom from neediness, desperation, and the reactive states that diminish our self-respect and autonomy. This independence is captivating because it's rare. It's the peace of knowing you are complete on your own, which is one of the most attractive qualities anyone can possess. Number 4. The Rarity Effect. In Stoicism, there's a strong emphasis on the value of scarcity in one's personal expressions and interactions. Seneca and other Stoic philosophers often spoke about the importance of temperance and restraint, not just in terms of personal consumption, but also in how we present ourselves to the world. When you make your presence rare, you inherently increase your perceived value. This is the rarity effect in action. Consider how a scarce resource is typically valued. The less there is of something, the more people want it. This principle applies equally to human interaction. When you are always available, always ready to engage at a moment's notice, people can begin to take your presence for granted. However, if your availability becomes a rare commodity, the moments you do choose to share suddenly carry more weight. Each interaction becomes something to be cherished, appreciated, and remembered, rather than expected as a given. The rarity effect also aligns with the Stoic concept of non-attachment to external validations. By managing how often you are seen and available, you exercise a form of emotional and social discipline. You teach others that your presence is something to be earned, not freely given away without thought. This isn't about being aloof or cold, but about respecting your own time and energy so much that others are also driven to respect it. Moreover, when you are less available, it prompts a re-evaluation in those around you. They begin to question and reflect on what your presence adds to their lives, often realizing your true worth only in your absence. This mirrors the Stoic practice of periodic self-deprivation, like fasting or abstaining from comforts, which helps one appreciate what they normally take for granted. In social settings, the rarity effect can transform your relationships because it introduces a level of depth and significance to your engagements that might otherwise be missing. It makes the time spent with you something to look forward to plan for, and to savor. It's about making quality time take precedence over quantity, which aligns with the Stoic pursuit of a meaningful and deliberate life. By embracing the rarity effect, you are not just cultivating your social appeal, but also practicing a form of Stoic wisdom. You are living proof that less is often more, and that true value comes not from omnipresence, but from a well-considered and meaningful presence. This approach doesn't just change how others view you. It fundamentally reshapes how you value yourself and your time, steering you towards a more intentional and fulfilling life. Number 5. The contrast of confidence. Stoic philosophy holds that confidence isn't merely an external display of bravado, but a profound internal realization of one's own capabilities and value. This self-assuredness, when contrasted against previous insecurities, can dramatically change how others perceive and interact with you. Imagine for a moment that previously you might have seemed eager to please or quick to seek validation from others. This might have made others see you as someone who wasn't fully secure in their own worth. Now think about what happens when you shift away from seeking external approval to finding a strong, centered sense of self-worth within. This transformation is not just about feeling confident, it's about embodying confidence in your daily actions and demeanor. When you start focusing on your personal growth, embracing challenges, and accepting yourself, this internal change manifests externally in very visible ways. Stoicism teaches us to be indifferent to things outside our control, including the opinions of others, and to focus instead on our own virtue and behavior. When you apply this in your life, the need for external validation diminishes. You no longer hinge your happiness or self-esteem on how others react to you, which ironically makes you more attractive and compelling to those very same people. It's a profound contrast. The less you care about their approval, the more they seem to give it. This newfound confidence can be startling to those who knew the old you, the you that perhaps doubted and second-guessed every decision. Now, seeing you so self-assured and composed, they are forced to reevaluate their perceptions of you. It's as if they are seeing you for the first time, noticing qualities and strengths they overlooked before. This re-evaluation can lead to increased respect and admiration from others, enhancing your relationships. Moreover, Stoic confidence is about more than just appearing confident. It's about being grounded in reason, self-awareness, and an acceptance of what you can and cannot change. This type of confidence is contagious and compelling because it's rooted in authenticity, not arrogance. It draws people in, inviting them to interact with someone who knows their worth and isn't afraid to show it. The contrast of confidence, therefore, is not just about how others see you, but how you see yourself. By adopting a Stoic approach to confidence, you cultivate a strong, unshakable sense of self that isn't easily swayed by external circumstances. This makes you not only more self-reliant, but also more resilient in the face of life's challenges. Number 6. The pain of regret. Regret often manifests when someone realizes the value of what they've lost, only after it's gone. This can happen in relationships when one person takes the presence and efforts of the other for granted, only to realize their worth once they decide to step back or move on. It's a sharp, often painful realization that something precious was overlooked and undervalued. From a Stoic standpoint, regret is a crucial emotion for personal growth. It forces us to confront our mistakes and the consequences of our actions, serving as a stark reminder of what happens when we fail to appreciate the good in our lives. Stoics like Seneca would argue that regret, while painful, also provides an opportunity for profound personal development. It teaches us to be more present, more appreciative, and more mindful of our actions and attitudes towards others. In relationships, the pain of regret can act as a wake-up call. It often shocks individuals into recognizing the importance of those around them, compelling them to reevaluate how they express love, gratitude, and respect. This can lead to more intentional interactions and a renewed effort to not take others for granted. The Stoics would see this as a move towards virtuous living, aligning one's actions more closely with one's values and the kind of person one aspires to be. Furthermore, the Stoic practice of negative visualization, premeditatio malorum, teaches us to periodically contemplate loss before it happens, in order to better appreciate and value what we have while we still have it. This exercise can help mitigate the pain of regret by fostering a continuous appreciation and awareness of our current blessings. For those experiencing regret, Stoicism offers a path forward through constructive introspection and rational action. Instead of wallowing in what has been lost, Stoics would advocate for using regret as a catalyst for change, improving how we engage with and treat those around us. This might mean demonstrating more open appreciation, committing to being more present in relationships, or simply acknowledging the roles others play in our happiness. The pain of regret, therefore, while deeply uncomfortable, is also incredibly valuable. It strips away illusions and complacency, revealing the raw truth about what truly matters to us. For anyone who has experienced this pain, the Stoic response is not to shy away from it, but to embrace it as a critical part of our emotional and moral development. By doing so, we not only heal and improve our relationships, but also grow as individuals, becoming more attuned to the transient nature of life and the importance of living according to our principles. Number 7. The mystery of uncertainty. In relationships and interactions, uncertainty can often be disconcerting, yet it also holds a unique allure. When you step back and reduce the predictability of your presence, it naturally creates a sense of mystery. People begin to wonder about your activities, your thoughts, and your feelings. This not knowing can transform into a strong curiosity, driving others to think about you more frequently and with greater intensity. It's a psychological phenomenon where the less we know, the more we want to know. From a Stoic perspective, uncertainty is a fundamental part of life. Stoics teach us to accept that we cannot control everything and that we should focus instead on our reactions to the unexpected. By applying this to our social interactions, we can use the natural human response to uncertainty to our advantage. Instead of feeling anxious about not being in constant contact with someone, we can see this space as an opportunity for others to value us more when we do connect. Moreover, the mystery that comes with uncertainty can lead to a deeper appreciation when interactions do occur. Just as scarcity increases value, so too does the unpredictability enhance the significance of the moments you choose to share. It shifts the dynamics of a relationship, often leading to more meaningful and focused engagements. This aspect of uncertainty is not about being elusive for the sake of manipulation. Rather, it's about maintaining a healthy balance between presence and absence, allowing natural curiosity to augment the depth of connection. In Stoic practice, this balance is crucial. It helps maintain a detached engagement where we are neither too distant nor overly available. This approach encourages others to reflect on the role we play in their lives and often leads them to a greater appreciation and understanding of our value. In a broader sense, embracing uncertainty can lead to personal growth. It encourages us to live more spontaneously and with greater awareness, knowing that every interaction could shift perceptions and dynamics. This acceptance also reduces anxiety, aligning with Stoic teachings that stress living in harmony with the nature of life, which is inherently unpredictable. Number 8. The reversal of roles. This shift is incredibly impactful in any dynamic where one party has traditionally been more invested or eager than the other. Such a reversal isn't just a change in behavior, but a profound realignment of how individuals perceive and interact with each other, deeply rooted in Stoic principles of control and independence. Traditionally, you might find yourself always being the initiator or the giver in relationships, always reaching out, always available. This might make you feel indispensable, but it can also lead to being taken for granted. When you decide to pull back, to focus more on your own life and less on others, you initiate a reversal of roles. Now, the other party finds themselves in the position you once occupied. They become the one reaching out, trying to bridge the gap that you've created. From a Stoic perspective, this is a practical application of understanding what is and isn't within our control. Stoics believe that by focusing on our own actions and attitudes, we can influence our life circumstances and relationships. This strategic withdrawal is a way of taking control of how much of ourselves we invest in others. It forces those around us to reconsider our value and the balance of the relationship. It's about setting boundaries that command respect and teach others that your presence and efforts are not endless resources, but valuable commodities that need to be reciprocated. Moreover, this shift can serve as a powerful lesson in self-respect and self-worth, both for you and for those you interact with. When roles are reversed, both parties are provided with an opportunity to reflect on the dynamics of the relationship. For the one who was previously less involved, this role reversal can be a wake-up call, prompting a new appreciation for the relationship and a better understanding of equitable emotional labor. In Stoic practice, this concept aligns with the idea of being unmoved by external forces while maintaining control over one's internal states. In the context of relationships, It means not allowing your emotional state to be entirely dependent on how others treat you. Instead, by changing your own behaviors, by becoming less available, by focusing more on yourself, you indirectly teach others how to treat you based on how you treat yourself. This isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about showing that you value yourself enough to require others to treat you with the same respect you offer them. This teaches others that your involvement in their lives is a privilege that is earned through mutual respect and effort. Number 9. The fear of finality. This is a profound and often pivotal moment in any relationship dynamic. It encapsulates the intense emotions and realizations that come when one senses an ending is imminent. This fear isn't just about losing someone. It's about the finality of the loss, the realization that something valuable is slipping away, potentially forever. The fear of finality can act as a powerful catalyst. When people sense that they might lose you completely, their perception shifts dramatically. They are compelled to reflect on what your absence would mean, and often come to value your presence more than ever before. This sudden shift is deeply rooted in the Stoic understanding of impermanence and the value of the present moment. Stoicism teaches us to cherish each moment and to live fully in the present because the future is uncertain and beyond our complete control. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this, urging us to focus on the present and act with virtue now, without delay, because we are not guaranteed any time beyond the current moment. This Stoic principle makes the fear of finality a profound motivator. It brings into sharp focus the importance of people in our lives just when we are at risk of taking them for granted. When you begin to pull away, or when an end seems near, those around you are starkly confronted with the Stoic lesson of transience. They must confront their feelings about losing you, and in doing so, they often recognize the true value of your relationship. This realization can lead to more genuine interactions and a renewed effort to maintain the connection, characterized by deeper appreciation and less complacency. Moreover, the fear of finality forces individuals to evaluate how they have treated you and how they have engaged in the relationship. It's a moment of introspection where the possibility of an ending provides a clear perspective on what has been and what could be lost. This Stoic reflection is not about regret, but about understanding and appreciating the present, learning from the past, and preparing to act more wisely in the future. This concept is crucial not just in personal relationships, but also in how we view our own lives. Stoicism doesn't teach us to fear the end, but to use the awareness of an ending as a spur to live more fully and to treat each relationship with the care and respect it deserves. In doing so, we align our actions with our values, ensuring that we do not squander our time on half-hearted. Life is full of challenges, and sometimes it feels like everything is spinning out of control. But what if I told you there's a way to remain calm, strong, and unshakable no matter what life throws at you? That's the power of Stoicism. For centuries, the ancient Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus mastered the art of inner peace, and their teachings are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago. In a world that constantly tests your limits, Stoicism gives you the tools to rise above the chaos and live a life of purpose and resilience. Whether it's dealing with stress, managing relationships, or finding your path, the Stoic mindset can transform the way you approach everything. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed or stuck, this is the moment to take control. Today, I'm sharing practical Stoic strategies to help you level up your life, step by step. Before we get started, if you appreciate what we're doing here, a simple free favor I'll ask from you is to hit that subscribe button and don't skip any part of the video because every strategy builds on the last. Let's dive in. Strategy 1. Make yourself a priority. I know what you might be thinking. Life's busy. You've got responsibilities, people to take care of, work piling up. But here's the truth. If you don't make yourself a priority, no one else will. You've probably heard the phrase, "You can't pour from an empty cup," right? Well, it's true. If you're constantly putting yourself last, eventually you'll run out of energy, focus, and even motivation. Making yourself a priority doesn't mean being selfish. It means making sure you're in the best shape, physically, mentally, and emotionally, to show up fully for the people and things that matter to you. Start small. Take a few minutes each morning just for yourself. Whether that's meditating, writing down your goals, or simply taking a deep breath and setting an intention for the day, it's your time. Begin with self-affirmations. Yeah, I know. It can feel awkward standing in front of the mirror and saying, "I am worthy," or "I rise above challenges." But trust me, over time, your mind starts to believe what you repeatedly tell it. This isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It's about rewiring your brain for long-term resilience and confidence. Another crucial part of making yourself a priority is setting boundaries. We all have people or situations that drain our energy, and learning to say no to what doesn't serve you is a game changer. It frees up space for the things that actually matter, the things that energize and inspire you. You're not a backup character in your own story. When you prioritize yourself, you create the foundation for everything else in your life to thrive. And guess what? The better you take care of yourself, the more you can give back to others. It's a win-win. So today, start asking yourself, how can I make my needs a priority? And what small steps can I take to make sure I'm not running on empty? Strategy 2. Enhance your appearance. Now, before you roll your eyes and think this is all about vanity, stick with me. There's a lot more depth here than you might realize. Enhancing your appearance isn't about conforming to society's beauty standards or obsessing over every little detail. It's about showing up as the best version of yourself, and that starts with how you present yourself to the world. Think about it. When you feel good about how you look, it boosts your confidence. And when you're confident, you walk a little taller, speak with more assurance, and approach challenges with more strength. It's not just about looking sharp, it's about feeling sharp. But here's the key. This isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. Find a style that feels like you, whether that's a sleek suit, a casual vibe, or something totally unique. It's about wearing what makes you feel comfortable and confident. Your personal style is an extension of who you are. And when you align your outer appearance with how you feel inside, everything clicks. And let's not forget the simple things. Regular grooming, keeping your clothes neat, standing up straight. These small details send a message, not just to the world, but to yourself, that you respect who you are. This isn't about spending a ton of money or keeping up with trends. It's about self-respect. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, and your appearance is one of those things. When you take care of yourself on the outside, it often reflects how you're feeling on the inside. And trust me, this isn't about trying to impress others. It's about how you show up for yourself. When you dress in a way that feels true to who you are, you reinforce your sense of self-worth. You're telling yourself and the world, "I'm here and I'm ready." So, take a moment to think. How can you enhance your appearance in a way that feels right for you? Maybe it's trying a new hairstyle or simply paying a little more attention to the way you carry yourself. Whatever it is, make it a reflection of the confidence you're building inside. Strategy 3. Keep a smile on your face. I get it. Some days are tough, and the last thing you might feel like doing is smiling. But here's the thing. Your smile is more powerful than you realize. It's not just about looking friendly. Smiling actually has a direct impact on your mood and your brain chemistry. When you smile, even if you're not feeling particularly happy, your brain releases feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. It's like a little mood boost that you can trigger anytime. And the best part? It works even if you have to fake it at first. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should walk around grinning like everything's perfect when it's not. Stoicism teaches us that life isn't about ignoring challenges, but about controlling our responses to them. Smiling in difficult situations doesn't mean you're pretending everything is fine. It means you're choosing your attitude in the face of adversity. It's about deciding to bring a bit of positivity into your day, no matter what's going on around you. That little smile can shift your mindset and help you stay calm and focused when things get rough. Here's where it gets even better. Your smile has a ripple effect. When you smile at someone, they're likely to smile back, even if they don't realize it. It's contagious. Think about how a simple smile from a stranger can brighten your day. You have that same power to spread positivity, whether it's at work, with friends, or even during a stressful situation. And hey, smiling even changes the way you sound. Try it next time you're on the phone. People can actually hear the difference in your voice when you're smiling. So, how do you make this a habit? Start your day with a smile, even before you get out of bed. Smile in the mirror when you're getting ready, and try to find moments throughout the day to smile, even if it's just at yourself. Over time, it becomes natural. Remember, smiling isn't about ignoring life's challenges. It's about tackling them with the strength and positivity that Stoicism teaches us. A smile is one of the simplest, most effective tools you have, so use it. Trust me, it can make a bigger difference than you think. Strategy 4. Maintain a sense of kindness while limiting contact. Here's the reality. There are always going to be people in your life who drain your energy or who don't have your best interests at heart. It could be a co-worker, a distant friend, or even a family member. But here's the key. Just because someone is difficult or negative doesn't mean you have to be. You can stay kind while protecting your peace by setting boundaries. Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and centered, no matter how others behave. And part of that means knowing when to step back. Being kind doesn't mean letting people walk all over you. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Kindness is about showing respect to others and yourself. You can be kind and still say no when someone is asking too much of you. You can wish someone well but keep them at arm's length if they're constantly negative or draining your energy. It's a balance between staying true to your values and protecting your own well-being. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time or your emotions, especially if it's costing you your peace. Here's how you do it. Set clear boundaries with people. You don't have to explain yourself or feel guilty for putting your needs first. It's okay to limit contact with those who are toxic or constantly draining you. That doesn't mean you're being harsh or unkind. It just means you're choosing to spend your energy wisely. Stoicism teaches us that we can only control ourselves, not others. And sometimes the best way to stay in control is to limit our exposure to people who bring negativity into our lives. The beautiful thing about maintaining kindness while setting boundaries is that it actually helps you avoid unnecessary conflict. You're not lashing out or being defensive. You're calmly and respectfully protecting your own space. When you do that, you not only protect your energy but also set an example for others. People will start to understand that your kindness doesn't mean you'll always say yes or tolerate negativity. So the next time you feel drained by someone's presence or overwhelmed by their demands, remind yourself that it's okay to limit contact. Stay kind, but keep your distance when necessary. After all, Stoicism isn't about cutting people off. It's about managing your relationships in a way that brings out the best in both you and the people around you. Boundaries are an act of self-care, and when you take care of yourself, you're in a better position to show genuine kindness to others. Strategy 5. Remain calm in stressful situations. We've all been there. Deadlines are looming, your phone won't stop buzzing, and it feels like everything is piling up at once. It's easy to let stress take over, but here's the thing. Staying calm in the middle of chaos is your superpower. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control external events, we have complete control over how we respond to them. Stressful situations are going to happen, but how you react to them, that's entirely within your hands. When you stay calm, you keep your mind clear and your emotions in check, and that's when you make your best decisions. Think about it. When you're panicking or overwhelmed, it's hard to think straight, right? But when you take a deep breath, slow things down, and focus on what you can control, you suddenly gain a sense of clarity. One of the easiest ways to tap into this calmness is through your breath. Seriously, the next time you feel stress creeping in, try this. Take a deep breath in for 4 counts, hold it for 4, and then exhale for 4. You'll be amazed at how something so simple can instantly calm your nerves. Another powerful Stoic technique is to reframe the situation. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years? Often the answer is no. By putting the situation in perspective, you can immediately reduce its power over you. Sure, it might be stressful in the moment, but if it's not going to have a long-term impact, is it really worth getting worked up about? When you zoom out like that, it helps to remind you of what's really important and what you can let go of. One of the core ideas in Stoicism is to focus on what's within your control. In any stressful situation, there's always a part of it you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your attitude. You can't control if the project deadline gets moved up, but you can control how you manage your time. You can't control if someone else is being difficult, but you can control how you respond to them. By channeling your energy into the things you can influence, you stop wasting energy on things that are outside of your control. Remaining calm doesn't mean you're ignoring the stress or pretending everything is fine. It means you're choosing to face the stress with a clear, focused mind. It's about being steady when things around you are unstable. And let me tell you, people notice when you stay calm under pressure. They trust you more, they're drawn to your calm energy, and they look to you for guidance. So, the next time life throws you into a stressful situation, pause, breathe, and focus on what's within your power. Not only will you handle the situation better, but you'll also feel more in control of your own mind and emotions, just like the Stoics taught. Strategy 6. Set your course. In a world that's constantly trying to tell you what to do, who to be, and how to live, setting your own course is an act of rebellion. It's about taking control of your life and steering it in the direction you want, not where others are pushing you. But here's the thing. Setting your course isn't just about chasing your dreams or doing whatever feels good in the moment. It's about aligning your life with your values, those things that matter to you on a deeper level. So, the first step? Get clear on what your core values are. What really matters to you? Is it freedom, creativity, family, growth? Whatever it is, those values become your compass. They help guide your decisions and keep you grounded when things get tough. If you're not sure what your values are, take some time to think about the moments when you felt most fulfilled or proud of yourself. Chances are, those experiences were in line with your core values. Once you know what truly drives you, it's easier to stay on course because you're not being swayed by distractions or other people's expectations. Next, set goals that are true to you. And I'm not talking about goals that look good on paper or goals that others think you should have. I mean authentic, meaningful goals that get you excited and align with your values. Success looks different for everyone, and it's easy to get caught up chasing someone else's version of it. But Stoicism teaches us to live according to our own principles, not society's expectations. So ask yourself, what does success look like for you? What do you want your life to look like 5 or 10 years from now? Here's the thing, setting your course isn't always comfortable. It often means stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing the unknown. Growth happens when you challenge yourself, and that can feel pretty uncomfortable at times. But here's where Stoicism comes in. Stoics remind us that discomfort is where real growth happens. The obstacles you face, they're not roadblocks. They're opportunities to get better, stronger, and more resilient. So when you're charting your own course, be prepared to embrace some discomfort along the way. It's all part of the process, and don't forget, this is a journey, not a race. Setting your course doesn't mean you have to figure everything out right now or have every step planned perfectly. Life changes, and so will your path. The important thing is to keep moving forward, stay curious, and be willing to adapt when necessary. Keep learning, keep growing, and be open to the idea that your course might shift as you discover more about yourself and the world around you. Trust your gut. While it's great to get advice from others, no one knows you better than you do. Your intuition is often a reflection of your values, experiences, and goals, so learn to trust it. The Stoics believed that wisdom comes from within, and that's something you should carry with you as you set your course. You have the ability to navigate your own life, and when you stay true to who you are, you'll find that the path you create is the one that leads to the most fulfillment. So, take the wheel, set your course, and steer your life in the direction that feels right for you. Strategy 7. Make your stand. This one is all about standing firm in who you are and what you believe in, and trust me, in today's world, that takes courage. Everywhere you turn, someone is telling you how you should think, what you should care about, and how you should live your life. But the Stoics teach us that true strength comes from within, and making your stand is about holding on to your values, even when it feels like the whole world is pulling you in another direction. Making your stand starts with knowing your values inside and out. What matters most to you? What are your non-negotiables? It could be honesty, loyalty, personal growth, or anything else that feels core to who you are. Once you're crystal clear on your values, it becomes easier to make decisions and take action that aligns with them. It's like having a solid foundation. No matter what happens around you, you know where you stand, and when challenges or disagreements arise, you don't get shaken as easily because you're grounded in something deeper than just what's happening in the moment. But here's the thing, making your stand isn't always about shouting your beliefs from the rooftops or getting into debates with people who disagree. Sometimes it's as simple as living in a way that reflects your values. Your actions speak louder than words. If honesty is one of your values, live that in your daily life. If kindness is a priority for you, show it through your actions, even when it's hard. People notice when someone walks their talk, and that kind of integrity can be more powerful than any argument or speech. And let's be real, sometimes standing firm in your beliefs means standing alone. That can be tough. We all want to feel accepted, and it's easy to go along with the crowd to avoid conflict. But Stoicism teaches us that it's better to be true to yourself and your values than to fit in at the cost of your integrity. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." It's a reminder that growth and strength often come from moments when you're willing to stand out, even if it makes you unpopular or misunderstood. You don't have to fight every battle, though. Part of making your stand is knowing when to speak up and when to let things go. Not every situation requires you to dig in your heels. Pick your battles wisely. Focus on the ones that truly matter to you. It's okay to let small things slide if they don't compromise your core values. The Stoics remind us to conserve our energy for the things that really count, and that's a skill worth mastering. So, how do you start making your stand? Begin by getting clear on what you believe in. Then, make small, consistent choices that reflect those beliefs. Over time, you'll find that your actions become an unshakable reflection of your values, and that kind of strength and consistency is magnetic. People will respect you more, not just for what you believe, but for how you live those beliefs every day. And more importantly, you'll respect yourself more. So, plant your feet firmly, know what you stand for, and don't be afraid to live it, even if that means standing alone sometimes. Strategy 8. Nurture your wit. This one might seem a little surprising in a conversation about Stoicism, but humor and wit are incredibly powerful tools in life, especially when things get tough. The Stoics knew this, and while they're often seen as serious and reserved, they understood the importance of maintaining a light touch. Life can be heavy, no doubt, but nurturing your sense of humor helps you navigate challenges with grace and resilience. It's not about being a comedian or making others laugh all the time. It's about cultivating a perspective that allows you to see the lighter side of things, even when everything feels overwhelming. One of the best ways to nurture your wit is to learn to laugh at yourself. We all take ourselves a little too seriously at times, and being able to poke fun at your own quirks or mistakes shows confidence. It disarms others, puts them at ease, and, most importantly, it keeps you from getting bogged down by your own ego. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "He who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at." It's a reminder that when you can find humor in your own imperfections, life doesn't feel quite so heavy. A sense of humor also helps you keep things in perspective. When you train yourself to notice the absurdities of everyday life, the little ironies and contradictions, it becomes easier to shrug off the things that don't really matter. For example, getting stuck in traffic can either ruin your day or be something you laugh about. Maybe you missed your morning coffee and feel grumpy. Instead of spiraling into frustration, find the humor in how ridiculous it feels to let something so small impact your mood. It's all about shifting your mindset. Timing is also a key part of wit. Not every situation calls for a joke, but knowing when to inject a little humor can lighten the mood, diffuse tension, and even build stronger connections with others. Think about how much easier difficult conversations are when there's a bit of humor involved. It doesn't make the issue disappear, but it makes it more manageable. Humor shows that you're not taking everything so seriously that it breaks you. It demonstrates flexibility, and that's something people are drawn to. But here's the thing, humor doesn't just help in social situations. It's also a great coping mechanism for personal challenges. When you're going through a tough time, finding even a small bit of humor in the situation can be a game changer. It shifts the focus from how hard things are to how resilient you are for finding something to laugh about in the middle of it. It doesn't mean you're ignoring your problems. It means you're choosing to face them with a little more lightness. So how do you start nurturing your wit? Begin by observing the world around you. Life is full of odd, funny moments if you're paying attention. Read widely, different styles of writing, humor, and even philosophy. Exposure to different perspectives will help you develop your own unique brand of wit. Practice not taking yourself too seriously and embrace those little moments where you can find humor, even in the challenges. Remember, wit isn't about being the funniest person in the room. It's about maintaining a perspective that helps you stay resilient. Life is serious enough. Having a sense of humor is a way to stay balanced and grounded, even when things get tough. So go ahead, nurture that wit. It's a small but mighty tool that can help you navigate life's ups and downs with a smile. Strategy 9. Be respectful of everyone. This might sound like common sense, but respect is often overlooked in the fast-paced, sometimes self-centered world we live in. Stoicism places a lot of value on treating others with dignity and respect, regardless of their status, opinions, or actions. And here's why this matters. When you show respect to others, it not only elevates them, but also reflects positively on you. It's about recognizing the inherent worth in every person, no matter who they are or where they come from. Being respectful doesn't mean you have to agree with everyone, or even like everyone. It's more about acknowledging their right to their own thoughts, feelings, and experiences. You don't have to share someone's beliefs to treat them with courtesy. In fact, some of the most meaningful connections happen when we disagree, but still listen and respect each other's perspectives. The Stoics remind us that we can't control how others act, but we can always control how we respond. Choosing to respond with respect is a reflection of your own character, not the other person's behavior. One of the easiest ways to show respect is simply by listening. In a world where everyone is talking, it's rare to find someone who genuinely listens. But when you do, it makes a huge impact. People feel valued when you take the time to hear them out, and in turn, they're more likely to show you respect as well. It's not just about waiting for your turn to speak, but about really understanding what the other person is saying. Respect often starts with the simple act of giving someone your full attention. Another important part of being respectful is learning to disagree without being disagreeable. We're not always going to see eye to eye with everyone, and that's okay. But how we handle those disagreements speaks volumes. You can stand your ground and stick to your beliefs without being rude or dismissive. It's all about how you communicate. The Stoics were masters at this. They believed in standing firm in their principles, but doing so with calmness and reason. Next time you find yourself in a disagreement, try to remain calm and focus on the issue, not the person. You'll find that respect can diffuse tension and lead to more productive conversations. Respect also shows up in the little things, being on time, acknowledging someone's effort, or even just saying thank you. These small gestures might seem insignificant, but they add up. They show that you value the other person's time, energy, and contributions. And here's the kicker: respect is a two-way street. When you treat others with respect, you create an environment where they're more likely to return that respect. It's a powerful way to build stronger, healthier relationships in both your personal and professional life. But remember, respect isn't about people-pleasing or being a pushover. It doesn't mean you allow others to disrespect you or trample over your boundaries. You can be firm and assertive while still being respectful. In fact, part of respecting others is also respecting yourself. Knowing when to stand up for yourself, when to set boundaries, and when to walk away from toxic situations. The Stoics believed in balance, and that includes balancing kindness and respect for others with self-respect. So, as you go through your day, look for opportunities to show respect in both big and small ways. Whether it's listening more attentively, showing up on time, or simply being polite in a difficult conversation, these acts of respect not only improve your relationships, but also make you a stronger, more grounded person. Stoicism teaches us that we're all part of a larger community, and when we respect one another, we help strengthen the bonds that keep us connected. In the end, being respectful of everyone isn't just about them. It's about creating a better, more thoughtful version of yourself. Strategy 10. Set clear parameters. Setting boundaries, or parameters, is all about knowing where your limits are and making sure others understand them too. It's easy to get caught up in trying to please everyone or overextending yourself, but without clear boundaries, you'll eventually burn out. Stoicism teaches us the importance of protecting our inner peace and focusing on what we can control. And setting clear parameters is one of the best ways to maintain that sense of control. The first step is knowing your own limits. What are you comfortable with? What are your non-negotiables? Maybe it's about how much time you spend on work, how you expect to be treated in relationships, or even simple things like not checking emails after a certain hour. Knowing your limits helps you stay aligned with your values and prevents you from taking on more than you can handle. It's about creating space for yourself to thrive, not just survive. And let's be honest, if you don't set boundaries, people will naturally push them, often without realizing it. Communicating those boundaries is key. You can't expect people to know where your lines are if you don't tell them, whether it's a work situation, a friendship, or a family dynamic. Be clear about what you're okay with and what you're not. And here's the thing. You don't have to explain or justify your boundaries. A simple, respectful no or "this doesn't work for me" is enough. When you communicate your parameters clearly, you're not being rude. You're being respectful of your own needs and energy. And most people will respect you for being upfront, even if it feels a little uncomfortable at first. One of the hardest parts of setting clear parameters is consistency. You've got to stick to the boundaries you set, or they won't mean much. If you're constantly shifting your boundaries, saying yes to things you don't want to do, or letting people cross lines you've set, it not only confuses others, but it also erodes your own sense of control. Consistency builds trust, both with yourself and with others. When you hold firm on your boundaries, people know where you stand, and over time they'll learn to respect those limits. It's not about being rigid, it's about being reliable and true to your own values. Remember, boundaries go both ways. Just as you want others to respect your limits, it's important to respect theirs too. We all have different comfort zones and capacities, and recognizing that in others helps to build stronger, healthier relationships. This mutual respect is what creates balanced, positive interactions with the people around you. And don't forget, saying no isn't selfish, it's self-care. Sometimes we feel guilty for setting boundaries, especially if it means disappointing someone. But Stoicism reminds us that we can't control how others react. We can only control our actions. If setting a boundary makes you feel more at peace, more focused, or more in line with your priorities, then it's the right decision, regardless of how others might feel about it in the moment. In the long run, everyone benefits when you're clear about what you can and can't do. You're less likely to overcommit, feel overwhelmed, or harbor resentment, and that makes you more present and effective in the things you do say yes to. So here's the takeaway. Boundaries aren't walls that shut people out. They're guidelines that help you protect your time, energy, and peace of mind. They allow you to give your best self to the people and projects that truly matter. Start by identifying one area of your life where you need to set clearer parameters and take action. It could be as simple as not checking work emails after a certain time, or as big as establishing boundaries in a challenging relationship. Whatever it is, make sure it reflects your values and priorities, and don't be afraid to enforce it. In the end, setting clear parameters is one of the best ways to show respect for yourself and others. Strategy 11. Cut out negative energy. This might be one of the most important things you can do to level up your life. Negative energy can come from many sources: people, habits, environments, even your own thoughts. And if you're not careful, it can drain you faster than anything else. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of the things that don't serve us. Cutting out negative energy is about reclaiming your mental space and creating room for positivity, growth, and resilience. Start by taking a good, honest look at the people around you. Who lifts you up? Who drains you? Sometimes we hold on to relationships out of obligation or habit, but if someone is constantly bringing negativity into your life, it might be time to reevaluate how much access they have to your energy. This doesn't mean you need to cut people out completely, but you can set boundaries or limit your contact with those who aren't adding value to your life. The Stoics were all about quality over quantity when it came to relationships. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, challenge you in a positive way, and support your growth. But negative energy isn't just about other people. It can also come from within. Pay attention to your self-talk. Are you constantly doubting yourself, criticizing your actions, or expecting the worst? That's negative energy too. One of the most powerful things you can do is challenge those negative thoughts when they pop up. Flip the script. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, shift your focus to what could go right. Remind yourself of your strengths and be mindful of the language you use with yourself. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of controlling our internal world, and that starts with recognizing and reworking those negative thought patterns. Another source of negative energy can be your environment. Take a look around. Does your space make you feel calm and productive, or is it cluttered and chaotic? Sometimes a messy or disorganized environment can contribute to stress and negative feelings without us even realizing it. Decluttering your physical space can help clear your mind too. Create an environment that reflects the energy you want to bring into your life. Even small changes, like cleaning up your workspace or organizing your home, can make a big difference in how you feel every day. And then there are the habits. Negative energy loves to hide in time-wasting activities and unhealthy routines. Whether it's scrolling endlessly through social media, procrastinating, or neglecting your health, these habits slowly chip away at your mental and physical well-being. The key is to be intentional about where you spend your time and energy. Take an inventory of your daily habits. What's adding value and what's just draining you? Cut out what's not serving you and replace it with something more positive, like reading, exercising, or simply taking time to rest and recharge. Cutting out negative energy isn't about creating a perfect, problem-free life. It's about being intentional with your energy and focusing on the things that bring out the best in you. Sometimes that means making tough decisions, letting go of toxic relationships, breaking bad habits, or confronting your own negative thoughts. But the payoff is huge. When you clear out the negativity, you create space for growth, positivity, and a sense of peace. The Stoics believed that the quality of your life is directly tied to your ability to manage what's within your control. Negative energy might not always be something you can avoid, but how you deal with it is completely up to you. By cutting out what doesn't serve you, you free up your energy to focus on what truly matters. So, take a moment to reflect. What's the biggest source of negative energy in your life right now, and what can you do to start cutting it out? Remember, small steps lead to big changes, and by removing negativity, you're making room for a more focused. Have you ever thought about what do they think when you disappear from their view? I'm not referring to simply taking a step back. Rather, here's the harsh truth. You should simply vanish, leaving their world as if you had never existed. They believe they can handle you any way they please because they know you'll always be there. You've made them feel good by telling them you're always there for them. But what next? What happens when you say, enough is enough? They treat you as though they depend on you for survival. But have they ever actually done so? No, and that's because they grew accustomed to you and began to take you for granted. But this is where things change. When you disappear, stop showing up or stop calling, everything changes. Getting through, and when your appearance is just a memory in their mind, when they look in the mirror, they'll feel and realize what they miss. They didn't see it coming at all. In an instant, their power vanished, leaving them with nothing. Your sudden absence leaves them with only their own questions and fears. Bring them into a world where your energy, appearance, and attention don't matter. It's theirs to claim, and believe me, it hurts more than you realize, than any argument, talk, or plea to help them see how valuable you are, because people don't just miss you when you're not around. They crave you. That's the power of when you walk away unexpectedly. You leave them silently behind. Become the puzzle they can't solve, the gap they can't fill, and the space in between. Not knowing what will happen, it's not you who's losing sleep, it's them. Because you're straightforward for them to guess, they put you in a box. They think they know how to handle you and keep you in line. But here's what you need to know. The gut punch is that you're no longer going to be predictable or follow their rules. Rules. If you leave without notice or walk away, they'll be left with one. Consider the terrifying possibility. What if I lost them permanently? It would be like taking the floor out from. They had lost faith. Their egos were broken, and they were left second-guessing everything. Every step they took, every word they spoke, and every moment they pushed you away, people thought you'd always pick up the pieces. But now they have only a smart friend of ours once said, "Sometimes you don't know what you had until it's gone." Until it's gone. This quote really hits home because it talks about it's in our nature to forget about things we think will always be there. Be there for them when you're not around. It's not just your presence they miss. You leave behind a quietness that I miss. It's the realization that they took you for granted. Behind makes them face the hard truth. They didn't value you until they no longer do. When I no longer had access to you, that silence turned into the loudest alarm. Every part of their mind kept telling them they lost something they didn't even know they needed. But the thing is, this isn't about getting back at someone or tricking them. The key to regaining control is to demonstrate to them that they cannot afford to lose you, and when you depart, it not only alters the game, but it profoundly stirs their spirits. They feel it in ways they've never felt before. Expectedly, they didn't recognize your worth until your departure. Remember this, it's in our nature to take for granted what we have, but you don't have to wait for them to realize your worth. Be found out when you're not there, but sometimes that's the only way to make. It's important to let them know what they've been taking for granted. Show them how valuable you are. Imagine that you've been searching for a new partner. Your relationship has lost its spark. You've invested your time, energy, and care in them, but it hasn't reached its peak yet. It's like talking to a wall. They're not paying attention and acting like you're an afterthought. It hurts, but here's the reality check you're giving yourself. Because of all the work you've done, they've grown accustomed to your constant presence and willingness to give without expecting anything in return. You turn the story around when you don't expect anything in return. After drawing back and cutting them off from the never-ending stream of attention, they wake up one day. They won't be able to call, text, or ask for you until you leave. That's when they realize you put in the work. And now the lack of your energy is more noticeable than they're not as sure of themselves as they've ever been. They're shocked and don't know what happened because they feel what it's like to miss you for the first time. Now that you have power, I dare you to step back and let them feel the cold. Life without you, and you'll know it when they try to get you back into their circle of influence. You have the power, that's for sure. Now drop the word I. Please challenge yourself in the comments to take charge of your story and stop chasing others. Let them know what they lost when you disappeared. Let's look at the 9 things that they'll feel when you just leave. Trust me on this. They didn't see it coming, and it will shake them up in ways they didn't expect. When you leave their life, it's not just a small thing you see. This isn't just about giving them space. It's a big change in their mind. It's about making them feel an emptiness they didn't think they'd feel. They can't ignore the void in their hearts. Trust me, they'll feel it. They think about it constantly, and that's when the real game begins. When they start to feel a pull towards you that they didn't expect. The emptiness they used to not notice now follows them around like a magnet. You cannot help but draw them back to the place you once filled. It makes them wonder where you are, what you're doing, and why they didn't see how valuable you were until it was gone. There's no doubt that you've become the wonder and energy they've been looking for. The catch is that the longer you stay away, the stronger the pull becomes. They'll chase you after you stop, so stay with me and hit the like button below this movie to help it get to more people who need to see it. Get their power back, because trust me, you're not the only one who needs this. Message: many individuals find themselves ensnared in the same cycle, eagerly anticipating a moment of awakening. Let's break it together. Music. Number 1. The pain of being turned down goes away, and what's the initial emotion they experience is rejection, and not just any form of rejection, the kind that stays with them long after they know you're gone. Let's begin with the harsh reality. They never imagined it would happen. I guess they didn't expect you to be the one to leave, but they did. You were okay with the idea that you'd always be there, waiting for a change that would never come. This rejection feels like a punch to them, shaking their world. When you leave, they experience a sense of rejection that wears them down. Whether it's a new person you want to meet or an old friend, pay attention to their ego. In an old relationship that's no longer working, the sting still hurts just as much. It's possible for them to initially act like it doesn't bother them. Inside, that feeling of being left behind all of a sudden tells a different story. Not being able to control things cuts deeper than they'd ever admit. You've been making an effort to win someone over. You've shown attention and put in. Despite your efforts to communicate your availability, they chose not to call. From a distance, they may have captured your attention, but they never fully did. They became accustomed to it and accepted it as normal because they knew you were always the one putting yourself out there. There you'd always be, waiting for them to do something next. But here's when everything shifts. You retreat, cease your outreach, and withdraw. They get their full energy back all of a sudden, and they feel the weight of your loss. Unexpectedly, they begin to question the reasons behind their rejection. Were they too distant? Did they miss the sting of being left behind hits them, and they start to wonder. They did things they never did when you were around, and here's the catch. You can't comfort them, ease their worries, or grant them any wishes. Don't try to explain anything to them, just leave them to their own fears. Doubt, and it burns. Now let's move on to an old relationship, one that's been hanging on by a thread, or maybe you've been trying to bring back a spark that's been dormant for a long time. You didn't want to be the one to leave, but you know in the back of your mind that it's over. They're cold and detached, and they act like being with you is a duty. What happens when you finally leave? They may feel relieved at first because they think you've just given them room, but as the days go by and you're not around, relief quickly turns into a feeling of being turned down, and all of a sudden they realize if they lose you, it hurts because they know you're no longer theirs. They may not have cared about you when you were there, but it's their loss. Now that you're gone, it's the rejection that makes them face what the most painful thing is, that they've lost. A quote from Steve Maraboli that perfectly captures the essence of his message. When you love someone too much, you forget who you are and lose yourself in the process. You're also unique, whether it's someone new or someone from in the past. People forgot how special you are and took you for granted. When someone walks away from you, they lose sight of how valuable you are, which is why you feel rejected. What they're going through right now is not about them. It's about you are claiming your power because, let's face it, you've been afraid to walk. They feared that if you were absent for an extended period, they might forget about you. Get rid of the fear that's holding you back and confusing you, in which you always give more than you get. But now that you've pulled away, you are now realizing that your fear was only a dream. Is not running away or giving up. It's breaking up the need to prove your relevance to someone who should have always felt rejected. What they experience is merely a mirror of what transpires when they recognize you, not theirs to keep, and this is what you need to tell yourself: that no one is chasing you. Do not think that I will always be here for you. You are the prize to keep yourself centered. Say this over and over when you feel clear: I am enough just the way I am. I will never beg anyone to see how valuable I am. Take a moment to think about that. Try to get approval from someone who didn't see how great you are when you were right in front of them. You're not running away to trick or play games. You're taking a step back because now that you know you deserve more, let's talk about it in the comments. For all, if you're ready to take charge and are sick of being a choice, please write these words down. Write it down, own it, and let everyone know you're not here to chase. Don't settle for anyone else's acceptance. Now it's time for them to feel what? Without you, it's like this is the first thing people face. They are about to learn 8 more important things, so stay with me, because the trip isn't over yet. Before you disappear, you need to know exactly how it will happen and what it will do to them. Trust me every time. This step in the process will alter the entire situation. There's a sense of abandonment following rejection. The next feeling they'll experience is the loneliness of missing something important. Initially, individuals may attempt to overcome rejection by informing themselves they're fine without you, and they may even appear brave. Still, something is bothering them in the background, something they can't figure out. Don't worry about the hole you've left in their lives since you're no longer there. I assumed that you would be present, as you were consistently present and giving your time, energy, and care. But now there's a huge hole where they used to be, and it's slowly killing them. It's not just the loss of family, of someone to spend time with or talk to. It's the deeper understanding that they miss the safety, comfort, and consistency you brought into their lives. Maybe you've been trying to impress someone new by showing up and making time for them. If you had attempted to demonstrate your interest, they might have disregarded you. Length isn't really interesting because they always thought you'd be there, didn't see the value in what you brought to their lives, and now that you're gone, they're feeling the absence of your presence in every quiet moment, every day, fills me with emptiness. Without a text or call from you, I feel deeper and heavier than they do. As expected, they start to notice the little things that make their day better. When they heard from you, they realized how much more interesting their lives seemed when you were there. They had been without you all those years. In an old relationship, the void becomes clear when little things add up. You've been there through all the highs and lows, making you even stronger. They were always there to keep the bond together, and maybe they grew relaxed because they thought you'd always stay. But now that they understand how much of their lives were built around you, now that you're gone, they used to feel better with good night and plans. Their weekend laughs hurt because they remember what they lost. They'll notice the sudden silence, a song, a place, or a time you shared that makes them think of you. They'll notice the silence where your voice was. Your absence is always a reminder of They perceive a significant void in their lives due to the value you have contributed. "You don't know what you have until it's gone" is a great quote that shows how deep this feeling is. It makes them feel bad that they didn't value what they had up front. They try to fill the hole with memories, but no matter how hard they try, they can't. No matter how hard they try, nothing beats having you back. The mind can't handle loss. Our thoughts feel empty when we can't think of something or someone we care about. Obsess over it and try to figure out how to handle the quick change. They'll try to take their minds off of exactly what they're doing now. Maybe by the emptiness is when you try to find someone else, hang out with friends, or start a new hobby, but it doesn't work. They can't get rid of the feeling no matter what they do because it's too real and too strong. That important person is missing. You see, the brain wants what it doesn't have. The more they try to move on, the stuck they'll get. When they think of you, they will begin to compare everyone they encounter to you. No one else will be able to match the bond they had with you. It dawns on them that you were more than just someone who filled their needs. When you were alive, you were important and made a difference in their lives. However, now that you've departed, nothing holds significance. Fits well. What are you doing now that you're not seated? While they're still trying to figure out what they've lost, you've already moved on. Because you're focused on reclaiming your power, you're devoting less of your energy to them, which causes them to feel threatened, lost so much that you're no longer their safety net or someone they can count on. They're learning to be independent when they need attention or approval. Sometimes you may want to call them to see if they've noticed what they've lost. But remember, don't let them just feel empty. Let them feel what it's like to miss someone. That was their wake-up call. If you step in too soon, they'll never fully wake up. To keep yourself focused during this time, remember how much you are worth. Say this to yourself over and over: I am whole without them. You don't need their approval to complete yourself. You don't need their care to feel important. You are enough on your own, and their silence doesn't make you feel bad, so as they sit with the void of missing you. Don't be surprised when they try to reconnect. Remember who you are. The return will be on your terms since you're in charge. They want you back for a second reason. They miss you and can't find anyone else to fill that void. As a way to keep you centered, say to yourself, I am whole without them. Clearly state in the comments, I don't need their attention. Confirmation to feel complete that you are whole, and that their removal only makes that clear. The third strength on your list is truly remarkable. Their next thought after rejection and missing you is wonder. At first, their mind is filled with a lot of questions, and they may try to ignore them. They may appear indifferent to your absence, but their concern is genuine. It quietly eats away at them, leaving them wondering what you're doing and who you are. Who do you spend time with, and why are you no longer reaching out to them? I keep asking myself, why did you pull away? Did you find someone else? Are you better off without them? They are constantly contemplating your whereabouts, are what you're doing, and how you could just disappear so quickly. The situation deteriorates daily until they find themselves unable to stop contemplating it. When someone shows interest in a new person, they tend to consider you. It's confusing because you were once chasing them and paying attention to them. They're crazy because they can't figure out why you've stopped because you're a ghost. They are worried that they have lost the upper hand, and the mystery of your departure turns into a puzzle they need to solve right away. Fix it so that when they pick up their phone, they don't see any texts from you. Hurts a little more, making them want to know what's going on in your life in an old relationship. It's even worse. They used to know everything about you, your habits. They don't know your life because you've kept them in the dark. Unbearable. And they wonder if the person who is taking your place is really you. Was this making you happy, Or did you finally decide to find something better? This overwhelming curiosity doesn't just happen by itself in this part without them. It follows them around all day, even when they wake up and don't see. When they receive a message from you, their thoughts begin to spiral out of control as they scroll through social media. The media doesn't see anything from you, which intensifies the fire they'll start. I am checking in on you in a roundabout way, perhaps through shared friends or subtle social media. The press is following you around, but they won't find what they're looking for because you're not providing them with any information. Giving them any hints about what you're doing at this time is living your life focusing. By focusing on yourself and enjoying the space you've made for yourself, you're no longer tied down. What they want or need attention, and that's what drives them crazy. The less clarity you have about your identity, the more frustrated they become. The more curious they are, the more grounded you should feel at this point. Feel free to write your answer in the comments if you think you know who I am. Make it official. They can't read your books anymore. For their own good, you've become an unsolvable puzzle, and trust me, they won't be able to assist you, but they will attempt to understand you thoroughly. An intense desire to understand where they went and what they're doing drives self-reflection after consumption. When you leave their life, they must examine themselves, which forces them to think more deeply. After that, they start to doubt themselves in ways they hadn't before. At first, they might have shrugged off your absence, but as time goes on and they're left with an empty thought, he looks at himself and asks, "Did I push them away? Was I too far away?" To come back to haunt them, filling them with doubt and sorrow as they replay. Looking back at exchanges to see when they could have done something different or shown you more. Pay more attention to you or treat you with more respect for someone new. This thought is shocking. They might not have known how much they forgot about you or how little they appreciated your attempt to connect with them. But now that you've left, they're alone. I wondered if they missed their chance, if I was too cold, or if I didn't notice someone who, it might have been unique that self-reflection makes them feel bad, but is important as they start to understand if they know why you pulled away, they'll start to see that your space is. They didn't try, and that realization hurts more than they anticipated. As expected in an old relationship, they start to think about themselves more deeply. They need to ask themselves why they let the relationship get old. Talk about the times when you were there trying to spark things again, and they start to understand how. No matter how little they thought about it, every memory brings back the way they forgot to show up. And now that you're gone, they have to think about their mistakes and ask themselves, why didn't I appreciate you? Why didn't I give them more when I had the chance? Deep self-reflection isn't about feeling sorry for oneself. It's about facing one's own truth. Because of your behavior, they can't fault you for leaving, because the truth is, you left because of what they did or didn't do, and this is where they can see cracks in their own character. It's not just because they lost. It's about facing the person they've become and the person they failed to be. What you needed and what you're doing now is staying strong and going, maintaining self-awareness and resisting the pull of ingrained habits is crucial. You shouldn't make them think about themselves. That's their growth and understanding. You did the work to step back and take back your power. Now it's up to they must weigh the consequences of their actions and decide whether to change. I need to earn your presence again, and I promise to keep you there. I believe I'm grounded at this point, but I don't feel bad about writing it in. The comments bolstered your determination to better yourself, leading to your progress. You are becoming stronger, more aware, and more self-aware while they are thinking. Number 5. The desire to follow you is stronger than ever. As they think deeply about themselves, they start to feel a strong, unavoidable urge to chase you. This is where things really change for the person who used to feel so. Those in charge now want to get back what they lost, and it's not just thought turns into a strong need and a burning desire to get back They may have thought they didn't need you at first because they took your relationship for granted. They were okay without you in their lives, but now they've been through rejection, losing your energy as you fight their curiosity and face their own. Their weakness is the emptiness they feel and the knowledge of what they've lost. It gives them a drive. They can't fight the desire to fix things to close. When you're attempting to communicate, the distance between you and them becomes excessive. When they meet someone new, they understand that they might have lost someone. When they remember how interested you were in something special, they think of you, putting in work and being steady, and now that's gone. They can't help but feel. If they desire to bring you back into their circle, they may start by showing a subtle liking for you. Your posts often involve sending messages to see what happens, or even asking mutual questions. Every little thing your friends do for you is a way to pull you back in and try to want to get back in touch with someone they didn't value in an old relationship. Is even worse because they can't stop thinking about the times you tried to stop them. Make things work, like the dinners, talks, and attempts you made to keep the connection going while you're away, so they know how much you care. They finally understand that they want that back. They want you back, because they want to follow you, they'll do anything. It's ironic that they're now attempting to win you back after you previously rejected them. They are now the ones being chased. The roles have switched, and they have to face the uncomfortable truth that they know. They no longer possess control over an environment that once provided a sense of safety, as they were aware of your constant presence. Always there for them has turned into fear and doubt, the more they feel the loss of. They want to further fix what's broken, and the more you help them, you are empowered to make things right, because you've already done it. Take a step back and decide if their pursuit is worth it. Your time. This isn't a game, it's about believing in your own worth. Don't chase anyone anymore. If they return, it's on you. Terms, not theirs as they try to get back in touch. Remind yourself of this: you are the prize, not the choice thereafter, since they can finally see what you've always known that you're worth seeking. Today, remind yourself of that. At this stage, I draw, but I don't chase. Write it in the comments. For good, let them know that you've changed the situation, and now they want to follow you. But remember that you're in charge now, whether you decide whether you want to come back or not. Number 6. The fight between relief, and as they deal with their growing desire to follow you, they feel inner fight. That is like a tug of war between two strong emotions, ease and. They might have initially felt relieved when you left their lives, but now they might regret it. Have thought about finally getting some space. They may have even come to the conclusion that they needed time apart to move on, find someone else, or get their own. Being independent is wonderful at first, but after a while, regret starts to come in. Small thoughts like, maybe I should have tried harder, get things going. Maybe I was too far away. Over time, these thoughts keep coming back, and soon I feel awful about them. More than any comfort they may have felt before, they start to see how wrong they were too. They expected you to be there all the time, but now they learn. They felt bad because they missed out on something important for someone else. At first, they appeared to have missed a rare opportunity. They liked their space and felt calm because they weren't having to deal with your attention, but now they have no idea what would have happened if they had given you a real chance. They regret not investing more effort in you during their previous relationship. They may have felt a weight lifted off their shoulders the first time you pulled away. But as the days go by, the memories resurface. They experience a growing sense of emptiness and begin to comprehend the extent of their loss. Didn't think about it enough. The relief they felt at first is quickly replaced by sorrow. Of losing someone who really cared about them, this fight between happiness and they understand that sorrow isn't just an emotional battle, but also a wake-up call. What they thought was freedom was really just not having something, significance, and now they are stuck with the heavy weight of knowing they failed to value you when given the opportunity. Here's a promise to keep in mind. At this point, I'm more than pleased to keep you grounded. Go ahead and write it in the remind yourself that you're worth more than the temporary relief they once experienced. Let their regret fuel your as strong as you are now that they know they can't choose you and see you as a prize they let slip away. Play the game as sorrow sets in. Something else starts to stir inside them. This is their final attempt to regain control, and they are eager to participate in the game, to see what will happen and whether they can change things to get you back. Instead of dealing with their feelings directly, they use tricks to try to get others to like them. They will attempt to regain your trust without admitting their mistakes. But in reality, they have already relinquished control. You may act indifferent or even distant, thinking that copying your behavior will help you feel better. They usually act like they don't care when they do. If they care about you and want you to come back, they might start posting on social media. They may even flirt with you to make you feel envious, showcasing a life that appears full and exciting without you. While other people watch, they think it will get under your skin. But here's where the game goes wrong. You're not getting annoyed. You've stepped back, regained your power, and are no longer playing. The person who pursues their desire to play the game only reveals their insecurity. They're trying to get you to respond, but you're already past it, you see. The game serves as a final attempt to regain control. This game might feel like a new one for someone who has never played it before. To test you, they'll act like your absence doesn't affect them, hoping you'll point it out. They want to break the silence, but as they attempt to act calm, their confidence begins to wane. They want you. It's important to reach out first, but any day without hearing from you makes it worse. They're upset about an old relationship. The games might get even trickier. Started to act hot and cold and send you mixed messages to see if you'll bite, but this time refusing to play. Games are their final opportunity to regain the power they once possessed, but their tricks no longer reassure me. Here's a statement to keep you grounded. I no longer play games. You can write it in the comments to make your point clear. Let them play. They can try as much as they want, but you already have the upper hand because you quit Game 8. The silence that followed all their games crushed them. When they push and pull, they're left with something they didn't expect. The crushing weight of silence. Words alone can be loud, and your silence is deafening, they thought. At first they thought they could handle it and wait you out, but now the silence is making them lose it. There's no more circling back and forth, no more justifications, and no more tasks to complete. Just silence, and they start to feel the heavy hole that your presence used to fill every moment without an email, call, or even a casual chat serves as a reminder. The quietness forces them to reflect on their losses. The lack of contact reveals the distance between people without explicitly stating it. Between you, they miss more than just the sound of your voice. They're haunted by the lack of the link you two had, and each day that passes without for someone new, this quiet weighs more than any word you've said. They find it unbearable. They rely on you to maintain the flow. Now that you've stepped back, those who put in the work have nothing left but themselves. They think that the quiet is a reflection of their own lack of choice and decision, work, and they can't get away from it in an old relationship. The weight of silence. More importantly, they've grown accustomed to your relationship's routines, such as the late-night talks, the plans you used to make, and the arguments that used to take up space. There's nothing about the quiet that makes them face the truth of life without you, and it's not easy for them to get rid of. They have to stew in their own sorrow while hearing the echo of every. They took you for granted with every unspoken word, every missed opportunity, and every second. Silence is a powerful reminder that you're not alone. The longer it takes to fill the hole, the worse it gets. What it turns into for them is this encouragement to keep you grounded. Feel free to write what you want to say in the comments. Let the silence be your power. While they're trying to deal with its weight, you're proud that your absence has become more noticeable than you could have said anything about number 9, the fear that makes them crawl. The weight of silence has crushed me back, and now I need to take action. They're afraid that you've moved on and that they've lost you. Their fear prompts them to return, even though you've left. The focus is no longer on pride games or ego. To stay alive, they can't stand the thought of a life without you or what they might have lost. It hits them like a ton of bricks that they might lose you for good. Suffocating, it takes over their minds all day and night. They start to wonder if you found happiness and satisfaction elsewhere, someone else has taken their place. This fear comes from them. So much worry and sadness that it makes them act on the idea of you being gone for good, sends a shockwave through them, making everything else seem insignificant. When someone new enters the scene, this fear intensifies, realizing they didn't think much of you and thought they could take their time. I could always turn to you, but the silence has been too long now. They are desperate because they fear that someone else has already captured their attention. They'll initiate calls, send messages, and even unexpectedly show up in an attempt to reunite. They're more afraid because they can't bear losing you to an ex-flame. Deep down, they thought they knew you very well and could guess what you would do. But now that they know you're not there, they're panicking because they know that all the silence is a result of the times they pushed you away and the times they didn't notice you. They're scared of independence, so they'll do anything to get it. Things just right to get you back in their life, even if it means taking their. They are proud and on their knees before you. But here's what's really important. This time, they return on your terms. You're not begging them for approval or attention. You've taken back your power, and now they're the ones who are dying to be in your life. This is where things change completely. They recognize the significance of your presence. Here's an affirmation to keep you going. Come on, I'm worth the chase. Write it in the comments if you want to. Fear can make you stronger. People are returning because they know what they lost, and you must stop them. In this video, you'll learn why living close to your kids as an older person might be making you unhappy, and health more than you think, and how changing your mind about your situation could make your life better. You'll be shocked by the newest revelation, but I want you to pay close attention to this story first. It is very important that you learn from this video's main lesson. Mrs. Rosa is a 70-year-old widow. After her husband died, she moved in with her daughter Lucia so she could be close to his grandchildren, and helping out at home made him happy. Who wouldn't want to be with loved ones as they get older? A shared family life seemed like a dream come true. Mrs. Rosa felt like she had won the prize when she thought about their days. Were full of silly laughter, the smell of food cooking, and the satisfying feeling of being useful. While making breakfast for his grandsons, he thought, this is life. His daughter Lucia's house had turned into this paradise of living together with people of different ages. The mornings were spent eating French toast and making up stories in the Rosa, liked helping the kids with their homework in the afternoons, remembering her days as a teacher. "Grandma, can you hear me?" Little Mato asked. "Help me with my math." and she felt her heart melt. Stanford University research showed that living with people of different generations can make people happier and give them a sense of purpose. Rosa was living it with her grandparents, and she felt more alive than ever, as if she thought that the smiles of his grandkids were the fountain of youth. But you know what they say about things, that sometimes things that seem too good to be true are, and this is where our story goes. Unplanned turn one afternoon while Rosa was cooking dinner, she heard Lucia Mom's phone calls are great. I don't know what we'd do without them. Rosa had a rush of pride and a small prick of something she couldn't explain. Somebody once said that it's not that we connect with what Epicurus said. Rosa started to feel like it seemed like she was always busy. Where were the quiet times to read a book or just look out the window? As the days turned into weeks and then months, the routine became set. Breakfast, homework, lunch, more schoolwork, homework, and dinner. When Rosa thought about her old room and how free she felt to choose what to do with her time, she told herself, how can I be so ungrateful when I have everything I ever did? Wanted one Sunday morning while making pancakes in the shape of Mickey Mouse, because what grandmother hasn't made that before? Rosa realized she couldn't remember the last time she had. When was the last time she went out with her friends without having to worry about getting back in time for Erik Erikson, a psychologist, talked at dinner about how important it is to keep your independence as you get older. But Rosa felt that a mix of family love and unsaid rules were taking away her freedom. Rosa had to do something one night after putting the kids to bed. She sat on the porch. The question, is this really what I want for the rest of my life, hung in the air as she looked at the stars. The air without being answered, like a rocket lost in the night sky, wrote Robert Frost. In a forest, two roads split off, and I chose the road less traveled by Rosa Parks. She wasn't sure if she was on the right track, or if she had lost sight of her goals in her desire to be the best grandma. Own way before we go on. If you like these videos, please subscribe and click the bell to stay up to date. Mrs. Rosa started to notice small changes in her daily life. As visiting her grandchildren every once in a while turned into a full-time job, she found herself changing diapers, making bottles, and chasing after energetic little kids. Does this sound like you? Epictetus once said that time and space don't stand still. Life. And boy, did Mrs. Rosa start to feel that these words were true. Her days was once full of social events and free time for herself, but now they were too busy to meet the needs of their children and grandchildren. But do you know what Mrs. Rosa didn't do that is the most interesting? She was upset because, like many grandmothers, she thought it was her job to help her family, but she started to feel tired and lost in a way she couldn't explain. This is where the classic image of the slave granny syndrome comes into play. No, that's not the name of a new Netflix show, but it could be. Dr. Antonio Guaro came up with this term to describe the emotions and physical toll that grandmothers take on when they take on unpaid caregiving tasks. Imagine this. A roller coaster of feelings. On the one hand, you love your grandkids very much and enjoy every moment with them. On the other hand, you feel like your life is slipping away while you... As I try to change another diaper, I feel like I'm hugging a beautiful but painful plant. Studies have shown that this syndrome can be very bad for grandmother's mental health because she doesn't get enough attention. Being physically tired and losing your freedom can make you depressed and anxious. It's like you're running a marathon that never ends, but no one with a prize at the end, Mrs. Rosa, when these signs started to show up. She felt more and more tired, but she told herself it was normal. It's part of being a grandmother. But is it really okay to put other people's needs ahead of your own? It's not scientist Carol Gilligan who talks about the care, though. ethic and how women tend to put other people's wants ahead of their own. Mrs. Rosa was living this theory by giving up her time, energy and, without realizing it, as the days went by, Mrs. Rosa looked out the window and longed for her old life more and more. Freedom. She thought back to the times when she didn't have to ask to go out to coffee with her friends, permission or juggle plans. Those trips seemed like an impossible luxury. Isn't it funny? Mrs. Rosa moved in with her kids to be close to them and have company, but she felt more alone than ever as writer Paul. Though she once said that being alone starts with family, maybe misses when love turns into a burden, the price of living together. Rose's story takes a turn that she didn't expect. What started as a dream of family time turns into a quiet nightmare. Have you ever thought about how a choice made out of love can lead us in directions we never thought possible? Rosa's daughter starts to show her real self one day while Mrs. Rosa gets ready. Lunch. Lucia walks into the kitchen with a frown on her face. "Mom, how many times have I told you this? If kids don't like onions, then why do you keep putting them on everything?" Mrs. Rosa takes criticism like a bucket of cold water. This isn't the only time something like this has happened. Become orders and suggestions turn into scoldings. Mrs. Rosa feels like her room is lowered and her voice goes away. Does this sound familiar? Have been through something similar or know someone who has? The famous psychologist Erik Erikson is known for his idea of Erikson says that psychosocial growth shows us how important it is to keep our independence as we age. It's funny that by independent living, people can have an identity problem and feel hopeless. When we ask our friends and family for help, we might lose something as important as our essence. Mrs. Rosa starts to feel the weight of this truth. Her days, which used to be full of plans and goals, are now empty. Having to watch her grandkids and do what she's told, where was that woman who was going to travel? It gets harder to learn new skills because of what other people expect of you. An investigation by the University of Michigan found that older people who stay on their own say higher levels of life happiness. That sounds great, but it's not so great when we think about how we would feel if someone Mrs. Rose's anger grows as she realizes